Hi, Michigan 4-Hers. We will wait a few minutes for a couple people to hop on, but then we'll get right to it because we will save this live video as long as everything goes well, and we'll leave it posted here on this page. So I have several helpers tonight at my barn, and we're gonna do a video that I've been wanting to do for a long time, but it's really kind of hard to do, so we'll try our darndest tonight. But I know that it is a subject that's really important and really needed out there, because it's just one of those that's hard to learn outside of the show ring or outside of riding in a busy riding arena. And not a lot of people get that opportunity unless they're doing group lessons and stuff. So that is one reason why I definitely encourage group lessons in addition to private lessons, because you need to learn how to ride with other horses in the arena in order to do it well come showtime. So I am going to, with the assistance of some of my helpers here, we're going to talk about several things that could happen in the show arena and how you might better set yourself up for success. I'm going to try to hand my phone off to my other helper, Taylor, and she's going to try to hold it. She'll pay attention in the comments, so if you guys can't hear me at all, tell her, and then we'll figure out a way to do this a little bit better. So we're kind of throwing this together for all of you. So the first piece of advice that I would give all of you in regards to ring etiquette is that when the announcer makes an announcement for a gate change, that does not mean there's bonus points for whomever does that first, okay? What a smart showman will do and a smart rider will do is wait, assess the situation around them. Where are the other riders? What's the traffic look like? And prepare their horse for a nice transition. It is not a poke and go situation, which is what I see very often with newbie riders. So a smart rider, you don't necessarily have to wait a long time, but you need to take a few second break to assess the situation. And it's also going to help teach your horse to not just listen to the announcer. Who's ever ridden a horse like that? Okay, yeah, where they're not listening to you at all. They need to learn patience and listen to you. Yeah, oh, I'm getting thumbs up and hearts, awesome. So I am riding as well, if you couldn't tell. You can yell at me for not wearing a helmet. Sorry, I was lazy. But all my gals have helmets on because their brains are more important than mine. All my youth gals behind me. So here we go. I'm going to pass it off to Taylor. We'll see how this goes. Basically, we're just going to redo the part of the lesson I just did. Okay. All right, ladies, are we ready to party? Okay, so let's all kind of bunch up. All right, so we're just gonna do some like scenarios. What would we do if? All right, so you guys have to tell us in the comments if you can't hear me. All right, okay, come down here, Miss Laney. Probably have to be close to it so they can hear me.
Okay.
All right, so let's pretend that we're just walking on the rail right now and they called for a stop, right? So I'm going to ask my riders what they would do. Taylor will let you get in front of us a little bit if that'll be helpful at all so they can kind of see what's going on. So Autumn, if they called for a stop, what would you do right now? You'd stop? Wait, stop. You'd wait. Okay, so Autumn is going to wait to stop. And we've been talking about this for the past hour of our lesson. So she's going to wait to stop because she wants to keep walking and get out of this crowd, all right? Now, if you are Lainey back here on Shrek, Lainey's going to do the opposite. She's going to stop as soon as she can so that hopefully the crowd moves away from her, okay? Now me, I'm on the inside. The person on the inside can really mess things up or help save the situation. I'm going to try to save it. All right, so what I would do right now is probably cut this corner. Get away from the crowd, all right? So one thing I'm going to get a little closer to the camera for this because this is important information. I do not, as a judge or as a rider or a riding instructor, I don't like to see riders doing circles to find a better rail placement or cutting across the arena, okay? Typically, there's a couple reasons why. One, if you are planning ahead enough, you just don't need to do it. There are better ways to get the desired result than cutting across the entire arena or doing a circle. The other reason is I don't find that the people doing said circles or cutting across the arena are really doing it that well or controlled, and they just end up in another bunch or dangerously almost hitting the judge or ring steward or something like that, okay? So it's a very rare instance where I would suggest doing a circle to get out of the crowd that you're in, all right? It's just, there's way too much going on behind you or potentially across the arena. You're bound to get yourself in trouble, okay? So let's get back to our pack, all right? And we're gonna talk about reversing, okay? All right, so let's pretend the announcer called trail jog. Let's do it, let's jog. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll pretend that they called for maybe a reverse at the jog. That's kind of a hard thing. Right? Do girls think we can do that? No? Okay, we won't do that then. We're just going to try. All right. They're not ready for that. I appreciate an honest rider. Okay, so for me, I'm going to try to slow my horse down a little bit to get away from this pack. And another way you can do that, sorry, I don't know if this is working. Another way that you can do that is use your corners, okay? So if I want to slow things down or get further away from the people in front of me, go deep in your corner. If I want to get further away from the people behind me, you can cut your corner a little, all right? So make your arena bigger or smaller, all right? Let's practice reversing. Girls, now why don't you walk? Okay, even now in a lesson though, remember, you don't have to do it right when I say, okay? All right, what if they called for the reverse right now? Why don't we ask Aaliyah over there on Gumdrop? Aaliyah, what would you do? Okay, will you repeat that, Taylor? She said she'd do it right away.
So she said she would do it right away because she's far away from everybody else.
All right, now to me, you can tell them I would wait because I want to try to get to that empty space.
So Taylor, she would wait and walk a few steps and try to get away from them to reverse.
Okay, and then what do we think those girls should do?
I would have Lainey
Lainey, raise your hand so they know who we're talking about. Okay.
reverse right now, maybe.
Yep, get away from Billy.
And then maybe have her walk a few more steps still, and then she would reverse next. Because you don't want to be right on Shrek's butt so you guys don't want to reverse at the same time.
Good thinking. Awesome. All right, I'm wandering around in the middle. Does anybody ask any questions or anything?
Nope.
Okay.
We have 15 people watching though.
I have 15 people watching. So hopefully we at least simulated a couple. Are you holding it steady?
Yes.
You're dancing around. So hopefully we simulated a couple situations that you'd see in the show arena. Hopefully you learned a few things. And leaders and riding instructors, please work on this spacing and placement with your riders, because if they don't ever practice it, how are they going to know how to do it come show day? So here's a couple of takeaways. Before you reverse, look around and what can you do to get away from the pack that you're in or keep the great spacing that you have. If you're doing a downward transition, like a trot to a walk or a canter to a walk, make sure that you don't, or even a halt, make sure that you don't just slam on the brakes and there's somebody right behind you. Obviously that could be dangerous. And typically I do not want to suggest using a circle or cutting across the arena to find better arena placement. I think that there are better ways to do it. They might take a little bit more brain power, but I think you guys can definitely do that. Same deal on an upward transition, so you're going from a walk to a canter or a walk to a trot. Make sure that you're not too close to somebody's rear so that you're going to hit them if you canter off first. A lot of times I'll wait until the person ahead of me takes the transition, as long as they're not waiting too long. Certainly before you back, you want to look around you and that sort of thing. So it's one of those situations that car drivers seem to understand better, because you can do a lot to control what you do with your own car, but you can only control so much of what other drivers do. So a lot of your time spent driving or riding is really just looking around to figure out what are the other riders doing, who do I need to stay away from because they're having a hard ride, or maybe their horse is a lot slower, so I would be silly to try to keep my horse behind them. It's just stuff like that. So I think it's called ring deportment in our rule book. If you ever wondered what in the world that meant, it means you get points from the judge on your ability to keep a good spot in the arena. Okay, it's safety, it's good riding, all sorts of things. So I hope that there were some useful tips. I'm going to tell you right now, please share this video in your counties if you found anything useful, because I know with these fairs coming up, there's at least a couple people in every arena that need to hear some of these tips. Okay, guys? Have a good night.